Viewers, welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show. Today we've got a special guest, Maria D'Amato, who's a tutor in adults, children, and right across the board, and also mentors. We're talking about the education system and its failings. Alice, one of the cases I want to talk about is this mother-daughter combination suing Geelong Grammar for failing to get the daughter into law school. Give me a bit of the facts.
Well, Tony, this really is an extraordinary case, and it's only very recently that it's come to light in the press. I do believe it's ongoing. But essentially the facts are that this mother-daughter team came down from Sydney, and the daughter boarded at Geelong Grammar for 2 years, and her intention was to do the International Baccalaureate, which is an alternative to VCE. And the mother ended up moving back to Sydney to pursue business interests, and the daughter stayed down boarding at the school. And essentially a few things happened to this poor girl. She did have some illness, which meant that she was away from school for quite some period of time, but she also skipped a lot of her classes, and the reasons for that are a little bit murky from the articles. But from what I understand, she's now pursuing the school because she didn't get into a law course at Sydney University, and she's essentially saying, well, the teaching wasn't good enough, I wasn't looked after because she struggled in the area of mathematics. And it's a very interesting case. They're unrepresented litigants, and I do believe it's ongoing.
Well, Maria, just some additional facts. She wagged school a bit, which traditionally the word wag means missed a lot of school.
So she skipped school.
She's also very intelligent, according to the psychologist from the school. And in addition, her mother's interstate. The mother's suing for loss of profits to come down and assist the daughter. What's your view of it? Do you think she should win?
Well, I think that there are a few gaps in the information as presented in the media, and as Alice stated, we can go on and make some assumptions from that information we're getting. But the point you made about the mother being interstate, I think that's certainly a consideration. Young people can find it quite daunting to be living away from home, and so from my experience, they do experience bouts of homesickness. However, the other thing that would be interesting to know is in terms of, whether she did receive any type of careers counselling and what support network she had available to her if she was experiencing not only academic issues but also illness.
That's right.
Isn't there also, sorry Alice, I've interjected, isn't there also an issue that not everyone's good at maths?
Look, that's true, Tony. We all have different strengths when we're going through school. I certainly wasn't a math whiz in my day, but it's true this girl seemed to have a particular difficulty with maths, but it appears she had a very high level of intelligence, and she's essentially alleging that the school A didn't pick it up and B didn't do anything about it or assist her in some way. I also think it's really interesting that the articles don't mention whether or not the school had a special consideration process or whether or not this girl used it. And because there's no evidence, we can't say for sure, but I would be very surprised if the school didn't have one because they are really right across the board.
Well, just on that issue there, what about the fact that surely the mother would have known that the daughter's struggling? What did she do to bring it to the light of the school or to highlight to the school, look, my daughter's struggling in maths, can you give her additional tuition or hire a private tutor, which is where you'd probably step in?
Well, part of the service of what we offer is that we actually match our tutors to the students, and this is to ensure that they can develop a rapport, but also so that mentoring is very important, and it's not just being able to enable that child to develop academically, but also to give them that confidence, that self-belief, and to inspire them that they can become what they want to be. And I guess as well, in terms of this particular issue, with mathematics, I mean, she struggled in maths and I struggled in maths. However, she did set herself an incredibly high standard in getting into law at Sydney University. So the competitive nature of Year 12 and VCE as it is, maths would be one of those subjects that would need to be undertaken.
And Maria, this particular student was having difficulty with maths. The issue is she needs extra tuition. Should she get it from the school or should she go privately?
Well, again, there are instances where schools in Year 12 can actually provide those extra classes for students. I guess it would also depend on the actual teacher teaching the subject, but Parents would obviously be the ones responsible for paying any outside private tuition. However, one of the difficulties they may encounter is that tuition is actually not tax deductible. So it can be a cost burden, unfortunately, as beneficial as it is.
But it is also invested in your child's future.
Well, there's no argument from me. I think there's no greater investment that can be made other than in your child's education.
Alice, just on this point, it sounds to me that the mother didn't complain throughout the year and got involved when the horses bolted.
Look, it seems that way a lot with this matter, Tony, and I think it's really interesting too because this young girl was doing international baccalaureate. To get into a law course, you need very high marks to get into law, and then you also have to do maths as part of the IB. You can't get away from it, even if it's not a prerequisite for the uni course you want to do. So then it comes back to what Maria is saying about, well, who's going to pay for the extra tutoring? Is it the student's responsibility to go to her teachers and say, I'm having difficulties in maths, can you help me? We don't know if she did that. I mean, we're a little bit facts bare in that regard, but at the same time, there are a lot of ways to shift the responsibility, and there is a little bit of a smell about this, you know?
I think the key to it is this. You've got to have the school that's teaching appropriately. You've got to have the student that's feeding information so that you know what they're doing, and the parents have got to be involved too. So it's not just a one-way street, is it, Maria?
And in a situation where you have a student skipping classes, being disorganised, perhaps not handing in work, then really, ultimately, the student needs to be responsible and take ownership for their own learning. For example, you can teach a student how to write an essay, but unless they're prepared to walk away with that knowledge and actually apply it and put it into practice, then they're really just acquiring this knowledge but not being able to apply
Put it
it.
in practice. I found in my own personal experience at university, I struggled with my property law lecturer. So I was told to drop the subject so that I don't damage my course. Picked it up the next year. I got a superstar who's now a judge in the Supreme Court, and it was like as clear as water. We've got to go to a sponsors break, viewers, so stay tuned. After the break, we're going to go to a video shoot of Mowbray College, and we'll have a chat about that. Stay tuned.